Hey everybody, this is Pooka bringing you the finals of the Indiana Fall Regionals. On the left, we have Mike McElwain playing his Donphan, Tornadus, Zorark, and Zekrom deck. And on the right, we have somebody else we've covered already, Scheu, who's playing a Typhlosion, Reshiram, Kingdra deck. And we're going to see these two face off to see who will be the regional champion for Indiana. And see who takes home 10 championship points, 2 buys at Nationals, and a paid trip to the National Championships as well. So we're cutting each other's decks, so we're going to get underway. Now, first off, I don't know if our camera angle caught everything. If not, I'll try to fill you in on what's going on. Use all the information we have and infer things. So, right off the bat, we do have a different matchup. We have not seen these two decks face off before. And we have two different styles of decks. We have Mike playing a more rush-oriented deck who just tries to kind of take advantage of Pokemon Catcher and basically kill his opponent before he sets up. That's the whole point of his deck. And then if they do get set up, he has Zorark to copy the big hitters like Reshiram and just kind of take 6 prizes as quickly as possible. Now, Carl's deck is undoubtedly the most popular deck in the format, which is the Typhlosion Reshiram deck. It just aims to get out a Typhlosion or 2, sometimes even 3, and then you get Reshiram, and then you just keep using Blue Flare every turn for 120, and eventually you just pummel your opponent into submission. Blue Flare is a very strong attack, and thanks to Typhlosion's Afterburner, you just keep recycling the energy that you discard with Blue Flare, and eventually just, overwhelm them for 6 straight prizes. And Reshiram has 130 hit points, so it's pretty tough to take down. Now, we did see a Collector from Carl. He got 2 Cyndaquils, and the Reshiram puts a fire on the Reshiram. Did not go for Cleffa, which is interesting. That might signify that he has some sort of a good hand, or Cleffa is prized. We'll find out next turn. And we do see Mike puts a double colorless onto Tornadus immediately and plays an Oak's New Theory. But if you're Mike, you're probably a little scared that Carl did not grab a Cleffa. You might be thinking, turn 2 Typhlosion could be coming. And honestly, if that's what Mike has to go up against, his deck will not fare well. He does not draw any more basics, so he's just stuck with that Tornadus. And we do see a Sage's Training out of Carl. If he does have a perfect start, like a Rare Candy, Typhlosion, Switch, and then another Fire, and there's a Fire going into the discard pile, so he could definitely get a turn 2 Blue Flare and end this game quickly. But it looks like it probably won't happen. He benches a Horsey, puts another Fire onto Reshiram and passes. So his hand didn't appear to be very strong. Maybe Cleffa was prized, I'm not sure, but at any rate, kind of a slow start, not the greatest hand. You have that Sage, but really nothing to go with it. And we're going to see Mike take the first prize, and this is exactly what he did want. No Typhlosions from Carl, not even a Quilava. And he's going to be able to take the first prize pretty easily. Now Carl does get a Seadra, 3rd energy on the Reshiram, and an Oak's New Theory, so he could draw into some good stuff here. There's no real threat for Mike to knock out Reshiram right away, so he doesn't have to worry about that. He's going to be able to Blue Flare, tie the score, and really not be in that bad of a position unless he can't get out any Typhlosions anytime soon. You have to assume at this point that Mike can catcher something if you did get like that Quilava there. So that Quilava is not safe. If he knocks that out, you're going to be in some trouble. He does have a double colorless, it seems, so play that down. We'll see if he has a Catcher. Now, Catcher is a card that has obviously defined this format. It has made quick decks kind of more formidable. It allows decks to just kind of go all out and rush you, just try to kill you before you set up, and then they can Catcher, try to cripple your setup. In this case, we've seen 1 Cyndaquil from Carl go down already. We could see a second one go down if Mike were to have a Catcher here. And that's got to be what he's looking for at this point. So he did communication for that Phanpy. Donphan, not the strongest card against a Typhlosion Reshiram deck, but it does have that exoskeleton Pooka body, which reduces all damage done to it by 20, meaning that Reshiram cannot knock it out in one hit with Blue Flare. However, if Carl were to get that Kingdra Prime into play, he could Spray Splash, and then if he does it enough times, the extra 10 damage from Spray Splash could turn Donphan into a one-hit knockout from Blue Flare. And that's going to be something Mike's going to be worried about. So, we're going to see Oak's new theory for 6, praying for a catcher, I would think. And if he doesn't get one, he'll be in trouble. And it doesn't look like he did. He's playing a Pokegear. Let's see if he grabs anything. Only one there is Juniper, I believe, so he'll take that. But this is going to be a bad turn for Mike. He missed the Pokemon catcher to bring up that Quilava. And this is going to be big because it'll let Carl get that Typhlosion into play. Now, when that happens, he'll just be able to Afterburner onto the Reshiram and get another knockout. Mike's going to be down on prizes, and Carl's going to be set up. So this is a worst case scenario for Mike. He's going to have to Hurricane here. There's no reason really not to. You want to soften up Reshiram, because really Mike doesn't have any way to knock out Reshirams in one hit besides Zoroark, which he does not have any on the field. And this has got to make your stomach turn a little bit if you are Mike. Alright, so Carl's decided it's more important to go for the Donphans. He's going to catch her out one of the Phanpies and Spray Splash the other. Basically just eliminating a Donphan threat. He's going to Sage. And, oh, look at that. Another Typhlosion. So, definitely going to be cringing if I'm Mike in this spot. Your opponent went from no stage 2s on the field to 3 in one turn. And now he's got 2 Typhlosions. It's just not looking good. Phanpy goes down. The other one's in Spray Splash range for Blue Flare knockout if Donphan were to come out. And you gotta be thinking Tornadus is the way to go here. But he sends up Phanpy. Thinking about it? Alright, so he does go for the Phanpy. I would actually prefer him to use Tornadus in this spot. You know, your Donphan's going to be knocked out no matter what. Might as well just attack with Tornadus and go from there. Earthquake will damage your bench, but we'll see what happens here. Definitely nothing wrong with using Donphan. He does force your opponent to, you know, focus all of his attention on knocking out Donphan. And, you know, I'm trying to find a way for Mike to win this game. This is exactly what he didn't want. He's actually down a prize. And Carl is completely set up. He has both Typhlosions and a Kingdra. And really Mike's matchup here is to try to win before Carl sets up. Or at least get ahead enough prizes to where he can just kind of squeak out the last 2 prizes with Catcher. Now, one of his only ways to win, I think, will be, there you go. You play Catcher. I should probably bring out a Typhlosion. But I actually would have waited to do this. That Reshiram is a ticking time bomb. It's already got 2 energy on it. You need to time these things right. You can't just go about it like that. Now, Carl did have a very small hand, so maybe not a bad play. I'm not sure how many fire are in his discard pile. But let's take a look. This looks to be at least 1. Probably 2. He's going to play an energy retrieval. Alright. Gonna get that back. Play a fire onto Typhlosion. I'm not sure why he would do this instead of... Oh, alright, there's a 3rd energy in the discard pile as well. He's gonna retreat. And yeah, this is why you wanted to wait. Typhlosion is a deck that's limited by how many energy you can get into play at once. And in this situation, Mike kind of walked right into what Carl wanted to do. You saw there were 2 energy on that Reshiram. Now you can catch her out Typhlosion, it's got a 2 retreat cost, but since that Reshiram already had 2 energy on it, you can simply Afterburner twice to the active Typhlosion, retreat, and then use his attachment to put the 3rd energy on Reshiram. And then he can just Blue Flare you for a knockout. So, questionable decision bringing out Typhlosion. He did soften it up though, so the next time he does get a catcher, he'll be able to get a knockout on Typhlosion. We're going to have to see if he can do that. But looks like he's playing a Charon, and oh, that does not look good. Now, Mike did have an interesting decision. He could have used a Juniper instead of Charon, I think. He did have that in his hand. He decided to just draw 3. I'm trying to take a look. No, maybe not. That was just his only option. So that's just unfortunate. He did not get an energy. And this is going to put him way far behind. He's going to be able to junk arm, get another catcher, I guess. But it's not really going to do anything because Carl can just Afterburner twice to his active, retreat, and attach to the Reshiram with 90 damage on it. And then he can outrage for a knockout. So these catchers, kind of a wasted motion for Mike. I would have rather seen him knock out that Reshiram the turn before, because a Reshiram with 80 damage on it and 2 energy is a threat. That is something you have to deal with immediately. That's not something you can play around. It's going to be there. It's just a big attacker, and it can actually use outrage to attack, which is the big thing. It already had 2 energy on it, and you can outrage instead of having to discard energy with blue flare. So, I gotta say, Mike would have been better off knocking out the Reshiram and then going after Typhlosion. You just can't leave something like that giant Reshiram on the field outraging your stuff. That's just a big bullseye saying, take me out or else I'm taking you down with me. And this is what's happened so far, and it's just unfortunate. So, here's a Pokegear. Looking at the top 7, probably going for a Juniper and Oak's New Theory. Either one would be good. Alright, there's a Juniper. I did see Mike had a Junk Arm in his hand, so it's going to be painful to discard one of those Junk Arms when he's already played one. I think it's only been one. He's going to have to get rid of another one. So the more conservative play would have been to grab the Oak's New Theory off the Pokegear, but he's decided, I need to draw 7, I need more cards, and he's going to go with that. So yep, there we go, there's a Juniper. Discarding that crucial Junk Arm. He's trying to draw 7. He does get a fighting. And honestly, we need to see him Earthquake the active here, I think. This just needs to get knocked out. It's just killing too much of his stuff. There's not really anything he can do to answer this Reshiram right now. He could catcher and knock out that Typhlosion on the bench at this point. But then the Reshiram just comes out and outrages you for 1,000 damage, and your Donphan gets knocked out anyway, and you're just not in a good spot. So we're going to see another catcher from Mike. He's going for that Typhlosion. He's got the right idea. He's just going about it in the wrong order. Now, as we can see, Carl's already down to 2 prizes. So this game is actually going to end very soon. She's going to Spray Splash, put the Zoroark at 30 damage, and then power up his own Typhlosion, which I actually like this play. He's just making it so if he does get catchered, he can retreat, but if the Reshiram gets knocked out, he can actually just knock out the Zoroark with Typhlosion, and that's going to be the game. So you can see right in front of him there are 2 prizes for Carl to take. There are a lot for Mike to take. I think he's still got to take 4, if I remember correctly. And this is an ugly game for Mike. There's no way he can really win at this point. He's just going to have to hope to rebound in the next game. He will be going first, and yeah, he's going to scoop this game. So that was game 1. Carl just got off to a dominant start. Mike missed a few opportunities with a catcher, and then he decided to keep going after Typhlosions with catchers once he finally got one, and it ended up not paying off in the end. So we saw Carl took a very easy win, and he's 1 game away from that regional championship. So this has been game 1. We'll be right back for game 2.